Hi, welcome to my channel. Today's video, and don't be perturbed by this and don't be put off by it. This is not a negative video, but I'm going to go into more detail why this is the case. You cannot change reality on the outside. You cannot change the 3D reality. You cannot say, whilst you are feeling the opposite. So you cannot have a feeling about something and then change it on the outside to be something different. So you push at it in order to change it. It has to change on the inside first. I'm going to tell you give you two different scenarios here so that this really puts this into a clear frame. First of all, before we start, I'm an author and I am a coach. My coaching is listed on my website and my books are all available on Amazon. Okay, what am I talking about? Right, so you are constantly feeling something. You're wanting to manifest something different to happen in your reality. But constantly you are feeling what is now. So you are feeling the vibration of not having it, the lack of it, I don't have it. In whichever way that is, you are walking around with that feeling mostly, and then you are trying to change the outside. You cannot change the outside, you only change the inside, and then the outside is a reflection of the inside. So the outside has to change if you change the inside. Now, let's give a slightly different scenario. I want something on the outside, so I want something in the 3D. I want to experience something in the 3D. What's going on inside of me? Yeah, it might be a bit of doubt, it might be a bit of fear that it won't happen, but I'm not constantly feeling the lack of it. So I kind of just wish for it and I feel it. And maybe for a moment I feel as if I have it. And then I go about my day pretty much feeling this could never happen, let's say. So I have that sort of, it's not particularly a negative feeling, but it's doubt, I can't see how that could happen. And a few days later, that change happens for me. And I think, well, what did I change on the inside? Well, you didn't really have anything to change because you didn't have a dominant feeling state on the subject. You had a bit of fear, you had a bit of doubt, you had a bit of like, well, I can't see how that can happen. And it happened, but you didn't have a dominant feeling of the opposite of what you wanted going on. So that is a whole different ballgame. It's a whole different thing. So it's do you have anything to change on the inside? And if you do, and if you know a dominant feeling within you is going on, so let's say you don't feel good enough for whatever it is that you want. So inside you have this feeling, but I'm not quite good enough for it. Can't see how I would get this because I'm not good enough. If you are making a statement that you are not good enough, then you are letting whoever it is on the outside that needs to feel that you're good enough in order to get this new job or whatever it is that you want, that you aren't good enough. You are putting out a signal that you're not good enough for this particular thing. That's a wholly different thing. So if you've got that going on, then you can't change something on the outside to reflect that you are good enough because you're feeling like you're not good enough. Let's say you just had that feeling every now and again. So it wasn't a dominant feeling. It wasn't a belief you had about yourself. You just thought, but maybe I'm not good enough. That's a whole different thing. Again, that is just a brief thought and a brief feeling, but doesn't have a great belief behind it. It doesn't have a program running behind it that's constantly saying, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. Again, this could happen for you. When I got a job back in the day, a publishing company that I really wanted to work for, I had no reason to get that job. I had no qualification for it. I was not, on paper, I was not a good candidate. I don't even know why I got an interview. Well, I do because I manifested it. But on paper, I wasn't right for it. And when I came away, I felt that the interview had gone well, but I also thought, I can't see, I mean, I know they were interviewing a lot of people and people will have had experience. Can't see why they would take me on. And actually they didn't at the time for that particular role. And I then completely released on it. I thought, oh, well, that's a shame, but you know, got to move on and look for something else. I was looking for another job at the time. And then a few days later, the woman that was the head of the department called me and said, there was another role coming up within that department, did I want it? And I just jumped at it because I just really wanted to work there. So it happened really easily, but again, I had no qualifications for either of those positions. So on paper, I wasn't right for the job, but I didn't dwell on it. This is the thing, I didn't dwell on it. I didn't have this deep subconscious belief that I couldn't get another job because I didn't have the qualifications, I wasn't quite good enough. I didn't have anything like that going on, and that's the thing that holds you back. If you have a deep-rooted belief or fear, it becomes a program and it's running and it's on autopilot and it's ticking over all of the time and it never stops because you don't do anything about it, you don't address it. you try to ignore it because you think if I ignore it, then, you know, circumstances don't matter, and if I ignore it, it won't be a problem. It's still there. It doesn't matter if you ignore it or not. It's still there, and it needs to be dealt with. That's the issue here, and that is why you cannot change something on the outside when you've got a strong dominant feeling of the opposite going on inside. It's the inside that needs to change, and then the outside changes naturally because the outside is a byproduct of the inside. It's not the other way around, and that's what to get your head around. So if you've got something strong going on in there and you know you have, and you're really trying to change something on the outside, stop that now. Absolutely stop trying to change whatever it is you want to change on the outside. You've already set that intention. You know what you want to happen. Now look at the inside. Now look at what's going on inside you. What can you do about that? That's what needs changing. You cannot change it on the outside. You have to change it on the inside. But if you don't have anything strong going on, and you know you don't have any strong belief, you just have a bit of fear and a bit of doubt, it isn't going to be a problem. So you have to just remind yourself, actually, this is not going to be a problem. I can have a bit of fear and a bit of doubt. That's not going to hold me back. As long as I don't have anything dominant going on in there that is in complete contradiction with what I want on the outside, then it isn't going to be a problem. And that's enough of just to give you a bit of release there. But if you do have stuff going on in there that contradicts you, let's say you're looking for the love of your life. You want somebody to show up in your life that's awesome and it's going to be the love of your life, but mostly you have going on in there, but everyone's a dick out there, dating's awful, everybody on the dating apps is an idiot, you know, you've got that, and you know it's quite strong, and you actually believe that. When you go deep, you think, do I believe that? Yeah, I really do. Okay, well, that's no good for me. Why do I believe that? Of course there's going to be better people out there. Of course there is going to be some great people out there. And why would I not meet them? Why would I not swipe for them? Why would they not swipe for me? Look at things a little bit logically and start telling yourself, I know I say ignore logic with this mostly, but this will help you in this case, because actually that's a nonsense, an absolute nonsense. And you can think about these feelings and beliefs as being ridiculous. This is one that I've been using a lot lately and passing on to people. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous because all thoughts are ridiculous really to anybody else. They just belong, they're just ours. So, you know, if you call everything ridiculous that doesn't serve you, it's a really great feeling actually. It's a bit of a safety net feeling, ridiculous. Because actually it isn't even logical. It doesn't even make logical sense that everybody out there is an idiot and there are no decent people out there. Of course there are. Of course there are. Not everybody is an idiot. It just doesn't even make sense. It's ridiculous. So look at what you're saying and then try and sort of rationalize it with yourself in a way like, actually, logically, this probably isn't true. So it's ridiculous. I've just made it up and I've created a program. And if I want to change something, I have to change those internal programs. I have to change them. I have to look at them, find out what there is going on in there and deal with them if I can tweak them. So if I've got a program that's very, very strong and I can really kind of feel that belief, how can I tweak it? How can I change my perspective slightly to change the way this program runs, to just, you know, to start you off, to kick you off so that you're not going straight in there because you feel like I can't go straight in there with this big deal and change it completely. How can you change your perspective? That will change it. That will shift. That will make that program different. That will make that feeling different. That will make that vibration different, your frequency different. But you have to do something about it, and it all has to go internal. Forget the external. Whilst you are dealing with this, make it internal. Forget the external completely and it will change naturally with what changes on the inside. But you have to bring it back to the internal. Everything, absolutely everything happens in here first, out there afterwards. But if you don't have much going on in there, bit of fear, bit of doubt, doesn't matter, even a bit of attachment, it doesn't matter. It's those programs going on in there on autopilot that need dealing with. So have a little sit down and see it as a fun project. What can I find in here? What could be holding me back? Find those and think, what can I do about those? First of all, can I look at those and call them ridiculous? If I can, then you might get some instant relief with that. If I can't, how can I change my perspective? How can I look at this rationally and change my perspective on it slightly, just to change the feeling slightly? When I change the feeling slightly, the program has changed in an instant sometimes. So little tiny changes on the inside can make huge changes on the outside. Right, I hope this was useful. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, I'd love for you to do that.